Let's bring in our next guest, John Hollingsworth. John, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, glad to be here.
Nice, glad to have you.
You've had a good show so far.
John Hollingsworth, recommended by my good friend Terry Talbot.
Well, Terry and I are playing music together.
How we're gonna get into the Terry Talbot thing. Where did you grow up?
In Fresno.
You grew up here.
No, I'm from Fresno. That's right.
Okay. Where'd you go to school?
Fresno High.
Yo, we got a warrior in the building right here. Okay, and how long did you play music back in high school?
Not in high school. Actually, it was after I got out of high school, sort of about when I was in Fresno City, sort of leaving high school, I started picking up guitar then. No, you know why? Everybody who saw the Beatles on TV wanted to be a musician, didn't they?
I wasn't around then, but I heard that was the case. I could see you kept their hair.
I think I fell for that.
Now, so when you say City College, there's some great music teachers over at City College.
Well, the funny part is I didn't take any music then. I was actually taking engineering, and I was kind of doing music on the side. So I really didn't get any music out of college.
Okay, so you pick up a guitar, start strumming it in junior college for the chicks?
Yeah. Actually, I got my first girlfriend being in a band. I'll have to say that.
At Fresno City College?
Yeah, no, she was at Fresno High.
Okay, I was hoping you weren't that late of a bloomer. Okay, now so you start playing music. What kind of music did you play when you started?
Well, now this is funny. When everyone starts, they play the top 40 songs. You learn the top 40. But after a while, I realized to really make it a musician, you have to write your own music. Write your own music. So
sometimes that's easier.
Well, I don't know if it's easier, but well, you can't play some of the hard stuff,
right.
You know. But when you write your own stuff, I guess everything's played correctly because you're writing it yourself.
It's pretty easy, right?
Anyway, pretty early on, I realized that was the route to go. And we'll look at some slides here in a minute. We'll show you some of the things we did with some various bands.
So you start writing music. What type of music do you start writing?
Well, that's hard to classify. I used to call it classical rock, which is kind of sounds like classical music but played in a rock group.
Okay.
And I didn't want to sound like anybody else. I didn't want to play anything that anybody else was playing. So I kind of played my own. And my original stuff was really developed on keyboards.
Okay.
And you have different music on keyboards than on guitar. It's just guitar you play kind of riffs and stuff, and keyboards you can play more chord-oriented and kind of musical-oriented. But we played a lot of weird ethnic stuff with 2/4 and 3/4 and like Chinese, those kind of rhythms that sound like ethnic music. So.
Talking about the 70s, right?
Yeah.
I get it.
Actually, 60s.
I get it. Now, okay, so did you stay in Fresno or did you move away?
Well, this is the interesting thing. We joined a band in Fresno in 1966, King's Versus. They just won the Kino Battle of the Bands in Fresno.
The Kino Battle of the Bands.
1966.
Wow. Hey, where was that held at?
Actually, they did it before I joined the band. So I kind of got the glory coming in afterwards. They'd already won it, and then they needed a couple more people. My brother Philip and I joined the band.
And who was in that band? Anyone we know?
Oh, Bob Melkor, he's in Fresno still. Jim Baker, he went on to do various music things, but I don't think there was anybody else we knew back then.
What type of music was that in that band?
That was real, like guitar, good guitar music, kind of musical
classic
stuff.
Rock still?
Yeah.
So, and then my question was, did you move away?
Well, this is interesting because we played the Fresno High
Every
School.
time I ask a question, he asks, this is interesting.
Okay, we played the Fresno High School graduation of 1967.
Wow.
And that was, I think, at the Rainbow Ballroom downtown.
Was Cher there?
Not that night.
Oh. Kopi?
Yeah.
We were the only ones. So we played there. At midnight, we got in our Volkswagen bus and drove to Hollywood. Slept in our buses at night in the Hollywood Hills, and the next day we played a love-in at Griffith Park with 20,000 hippies.
It's pretty rock and roll, John.
But I'd never seen a hippie before.
Oh.
And I was kind of shocked.
How'd that work out for you?
Well, we were still trying to be like the Beatles, with a suit and tie and stuff. And the hippies were completely different. It was wild hair, wild outfits.
Beads.
Yeah, so I was kind of stunned at the time.
It looks like you might have fell right in.
Well, I don't have any beads anymore. I did have beads for a while. But actually, we were down there. When they won that Battle of the Bands, they got to do some records with Capitol. So we went to the Capitol and we recorded some stuff at Capitol. That stuff never made it, but I mean, that's how bands are. You go through a lot of stuff.
But we're talking about the Capitol Records building in downtown L.A.
The round one.
I mean,
in
that
Hollywood.
had to be pretty big for you, right? Walking into that.
Well, I tell you, when you walk in there, it's like you're in the big time. And this producer, Nick Vinay, he produced Bye Bye American Pie. You probably know that song. He was with, I think, Bob Dylan for a while. And Eric Burdon and the Animals were in there while we were there.
Wow.
We actually crossed paths with quite a few famous people.
Wow.
But we did cut some stuff in there. But you know how it is, the record company. They have hundreds of bands or thousands of bands.
Right.
I think a record company's job is really
They're playing the numbers just like everybody else.
Yeah. And they're kind of filtering the stuff.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, that was our first attempt right there.
And so you go in there and you make your recordings that you won off the Kino Battle of the Bands. Did those go anywhere?
Those didn't go anywhere. But I can tell you something interesting that happened. We played, do you remember the Hullabaloo? There was a show on TV.
I remember Hullabaloo. I remember hearing about it.
You mean you weren't there?
No.
Well, there was a Hullabaloo club on Sunset or Hollywood Boulevard, I think. It's a famous club.
Right.
So we played out there. They have those stages that go in circles. I've
Right.
seen the rotating stage. So they set up two bands, and then they would rotate, and you would swing out and play. So what happened was, you familiar with the Musicians Union?
Well, I've heard of that too.
Well, you know the problem with the union. The union is trying to get union pay, and every band is trying to make it.
Right.
And you don't need to pay a struggling band. You know, everybody's trying to make it. So anyway, these things were not all following the union rules. And so our band kind of signed, or we got mixed up in this union thing. And we kind of got blackballed from that.
From the union or from all the venues in L.A.?
Mainly from the venues.
Gee. Not good.
So anyway, that band broke up. Okay, but there was a long series of other things I did after that.
Well, let's talk about that. What did you do?
Well, actually, at that time I went back. You know, I'd actually dropped out of school. My parents were so upset I wasn't going to school. I was in my 20s when I left and went down there. So I went back to school at now Cal State LA.
Okay.
And I was actually taking engineering. But you know, when you go to college, you have a class at 8 o'clock, then one at 1 o'clock. So what are you going to do? Well, they had the great music department there.
Right.
I wasn't taking music, but they had a music department. So I went in, they've got this practice room with a piano. I went over and played the piano every day for 4 hours for a whole year at Cal State LA.
You probably got a little better.
And I wrote music.
Yeah.
And I started writing my own stuff, and I wrote a set of songs that I then brought home to my brother Philip in Fresno, and I played the songs, and he looked at me and said, that's what I want to do. So we started our next band, Canterbury Fair, which was playing the song that I'd written in Los Angeles.
How awesome.
So, and actually, look, I had to say they're the same songs I'm playing today.
So you haven't written a song in 40 years?
Well, I'll take it back. I've gone in the studio, and we've been a couple of years ago, my brother Philip said, let's re-record our songs from the 60s. I didn't think it would work, but we went in the studio. Maximus Media, they're a studio by the airport.
Right.
And Terry was over there. Terry's how I got started, because Terry played with me in the Canterbury Fair stuff.
Uh-huh.
And Jeff Hall and the other people over there. And then Terry and I kind of split out, because then I started writing my own new stuff. And so Terry said, why don't we go out and we'll make another band and we'll start recording the new stuff. That's what we're going to see in the videotape in a couple of
And who's in the new band?
Oh, that's Terry and Stephanie. Stephanie's standing right over
Stephanie Lyles, we got Terry Talbot,
Right.
John Hollingsworth.
And we just added Dee Johnson. She's a great violin player.
Right.
You've probably seen her play around
Right.
in Fresno a few times.
So you're putting an all-star group together. When's this band going to be out and about playing?
Well, I missed my chance in January to play at the Tower Theater. Terry and Stephanie are going to be playing at the
Right. Well,
benefit.
from what I understand, we've rebooked that to February.
February, yes.
Right.
Oh,
So
well.
they didn't tell you about that, John. Sorry.
Maybe I have a day job, too.
Okay, I understand.
And I'm an educational consultant, and I'm going to spend a month in Australia training teachers at 15 schools, Aborigine schools in Australia. So I'm going to be gone during the time
It's
they're
called
doing
the
it.
Outback.
Yeah, no, I went to school 10 hours on a dirt road to get there.
Right.
And they chartered planes.
Because there's only 6 states in Australia, and they're all around the perimeter.
But it's 10 hours to get to these remote Aborigine schools. They're pretty interesting, too.
I bet you really feel tall over there, don't you? All right, hey, we're going to see. Is this the video?
Oh, let's look at the video. We shot this at my farm. This is really the video of the video. It's not the finished video. It's the camera behind
It's
the
the
camera.
making of the video.
Kind of, yeah. But you'll
Very
see.
artsy, John.
Well, we're having the real video put together, but I put together something so we could look at.
Okay.
So let's take a
Let's
look.
take a look, Billy.
The sun comes up on a strange little girl, strange little girl, strange little girl, strange little girl, strange little girl was she.
All right, very nice, John. I like that. That's one song. Is there a whole album that goes to that?
Well, we're working on that. We've got 3 or 4 with Terry. And the Canterbury Fair at Maximus, we've got 12 songs almost ready to come out.
Okay.
So I'm really working on 2 groups at the same time.
Okay, and so when can we expect this?
Well, our goal was to have the 12 Canterbury Fair songs done by the end of the year, which is right about now.
Now, how's that working out?
These, I think they're just about ready.
Okay.
You know how mixing can go forever? You're always tweaking it. These, we actually have 3 songs ready to go. The Annabelle, we're getting ready to put on iTunes.
Nice.
And we'd like to have the video come out at the same time, but we've got 4 songs here ready to go on to iTunes.
Okay. John Hollingsworth, it's great talking with you.
Okay.
Happy New Year's to you, sir.
Same to you.